Hello, and welcome to a new format.
Ooh.
QuipScope.
QuipScope?
That's a good name, isn't it?
I think it's a wonderful name.
So, I mean, it's a quip in and of itself, isn't it? There's the quip immediately.
It is.
But hopefully this will be filled with all manner of quips about a game that you've been playing, Ben.
A video game that I've been playing, Peter.
Yeah, but Ben Potter, I feel Sek. I feel a bit Sekiro.
Oh.
That's the best I can do.
No, that was good.
Thanks.
That was a good one. Hopefully, right now you're seeing actual footage of me attempting to play Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
Is it Sekiro? I need to establish this before
I don't know.
You don't know?
Let's just call it Die Twice.
Die Twice.
Die Twice. No, that would be inconvenient, wouldn't it? I would actually like to start off, Peter, by thanking Activision for providing the code.
Of course.
To play this video game. And basically what we're going to try and do here on QuipScope, as and when is relevant to make a sort of video. It's not a full review in that, these games are long, and we've got a lot of stuff to do at work during the day that we don't have time to play them all the way through necessarily all the time.
No,
at least not in a time-sensitive manner to make a full review video about it.
We'll get through them, but it's not in time. Right?
Yeah, so this is meant to be sort of just a discussion about new releases that have come out, and inevitably, because we stream 3 times a week, it'll be streamed at various points. It'll be discussed further on the podcast in the groundbreaking What We Play in section.
Absolutely.
So really what you need to do is subscribe to TripleJump for more coverage on this video game and any other video games that we feature in QuipScope.
Absolutely. So this is just a first impression. It's a quick scope.
It's a quick QuipScope. Over the video game.
Maybe we should just go. So I mean, give me a headline first impression before we get into the deets. Deets.
Yes.
Just what are you thinking? How are you finding it?
It's not Dark Souls, Peter.
Isn't it?
No.
It's hard, though.
It's bloody hard.
So it is Dark Souls.
No.
Yes.
It's mutually exclusive. If it's hard, it must be Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's from Software.
It's from Software.
From Software, the developers of Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Demon's Souls. They pioneered that whole format. And then, of course, you had Neo, I think a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
And that sort of was trying to get in on that market as well. Also set in sort of a Japanese historical setting, which this one is too. Now, things were coming out about this game around Gamescom last year when people were getting hands-on, and some people were saying, hey, you know what? If you just want to play it like a Souls game, you can, and it feels awfully familiar to a Souls game. You cannot.
Right.
You cannot play it like a Souls game.
No.
You can't. Everyone I've spoken to about it has said that they have had to systematically unlearn 10 years of playing From Software games just to stand a chance. Because it's punishingly difficult.
Right.
They will
in a different way.
In a very different way. In a way, it's difficult to define what made the Soulsborne games challenging. But once you got the combat down, mistakes generally were on you, apart from occasional things where they would just clip through walls.
Yeah, I do hear that. People say that, although Dark, because I'm not well versed in my Soulsborne, but people say that, it's the kind of game where if you die, it was your fault. Like, you know what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
You did that, idiot.
Are you not finding that yet with or it's a whole different load of muscle memory and things to do, right? That's making it difficult.
Exactly.
It's still your fault, but
it's absolutely my fault. But that's the thing. It's a matter of, do I have the patience for it to overcome the trauma that I'm facing?
Yeah.
Because you start up the game and it's like, right, I get this. There's R1 is attack. There's circle to do sort of like a little dodge. You can rest at these shrines that are sort of like bonfires, and then you can teleport between things. There's a little hub world where you can go back to, and there are various NPCs who will heal you and upgrade stuff and things like. Okay, this feels kind of familiar. And then they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you can't just press circle to roll away from everything now. What we've done is we've added a jump button, we've added a parry button, and we've still got the dodge button, but it's not a roll button, it's just a slight dodge.
A little bit of a dodge.
So it's not too bad when you first get started. You're lulled into this false sense of security where you're like, Sekiro. I could see it in your eyes. I could see it in your face. I'm going to say it before he does it.
Security.
And you think, okay, here's a boy. I got him right. I'm getting down with the sickness. I understand when he's slowly raising his sword. If I press L1, it makes a really satisfying ching noise to sort of parry him. And if I do that a couple of times, I break his posture because they've got a little thing above his head, a bar that fills. He
slouches, does he?
Exactly. Yeah. He gets lower and lower in his chair. And when it reaches critical, a little button prompt appears above his head, and you can basically get just a one-hit kill on him. Right. So that's the gist, is breaking posture. But then you encounter enemies who either attack slightly differently, or they require multiple death blows to actually kill properly.
Oh.
So they have kind of like when you're playing Street Fighter and it's got the circles at the top that shows how many people have won, how many rounds you've won.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, except it goes down.
Right.
And so you encounter people who will have thrust weapons. You will encounter people who try to grab you.
Right.
And each one requires you to read the situation in that split second, and Sekiro can't do that anymore. And press the appropriate button, which is so hard to get used to. It's so difficult because it's kind of like Guitar Hero, except if there were 5 people giving you things to press at once.
So it's not a case of, it's one of those guys with the blue robes. I know that he is a thrust. It's like you don't know.
He's
you see
weak
someone.
to fire.
Exactly. You see someone and you don't actually know immediately what they're going to be doing, and then you have to engage them, see what they're doing, and then react to that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And so ideally you want to take people on one by one, but that's not always an option. I've reached sort of, I suppose it's a boss. I'm not sure. It didn't have a cutscene or anything.
Right.
A boss with this huge drunk guy, and he's massive, and he's got this big curved sword, and he's surrounded by people, and he's just mulching me over and over again because I don't have enough time to methodically take out the people around him, because you can't just, it's not Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah.
It's not even like Dark Souls where you can run in there with, a claymore and just swing it around and take everybody out at once, because they're all blocking and guarding and they've all got posture and then health underneath.
Right.
So there's got to be a certain way to do it, but in the sort of the genius of From Software is definitely shining through in that I went down a different path before, and I reached a giant ogre, and the ogre kept grabbing me and throwing me off the cliff, and that was really annoying. So I went somewhere else, and on my travels, I found a fire extension to my shinobi arm, which is the prosthetic, the shinobi prosthetic arm that you get given, which is also a grappling hook, which we'll get onto in a second.
Okay.
A second round. And
stop it.
I know, I can't stop.
Yeah.
And
I wanted to do down with the sickness as well.
Oh, that would have been good.
But,
you should have said that.
Well, I'm trying to keep it. Although it's called QuipScope, I'm not doing this.
We've already
joke,
reached our quota.
Yeah.
Our Sekirota.
Yeah.
So I found this fire extension.
Sure.
I went back to the. Oh, just smacked my mic. I then went back to the ogre. I was like, I'm going to beat him up.
Got him.
And you're able to eavesdrop on certain people as you go around, because it does encourage snickerness.
Right.
And they said, I don't like him being chained up there. Yes, I agree. If he gets out, though, maybe we should use fire. He hates fire.
Right.
And I was like, oh.
Now I know.
Well, I've got that thing, and he hates fire.
Okay.
And that made him super easy to beat.
This is the ogre boy, right?
This is the ogre boy, yeah. So I got frustrated at massive drunk boy, and I'm going to reattempt him perhaps tonight if I feel brave enough. But there's always stuff in there that's hinting and telling you, well, maybe if you can't do this yet, go back the other way. Because Dark Souls was like that. There were three directions you could leave Firelink Shrine, and only one of them was the correct answer.
Okay.
The other ones were just like, oh, have fun dying there. So I'm looking forward to exploring more and finding new, more secrets and hidden discoveries.
Yeah. Secrets. This is a small question. It's not a big detail. Just curious. When you overhear people, do they have like the accent of someone from Japan speaking English, or because in Bloodborne they're all like sort of Londoners, aren't they? They're all copies.
They're all sort of Victorian-esque people.
I'm just curious how they sound.
Its default is the Japanese dub,
right,
with English subtitles. However, it does have an English dub, and I was like, subtitles. So I put it in the English dub. English dub isn't great.
Okay.
And frequently I will be confused about who's talking because they're all American.
Yeah.
Which also seems strange. I'm not saying that they should be British, but I am saying, why don't they have Japanese accents? Because I feel like that would be a really good middle ground for people who don't want to have to read the subtitles while they're playing.
It's like when you're playing like a World War II game, and obviously, like, well, some games the Germans just speak German, but like in the ones where you can understand what the Germans are saying, they have German accents.
Yeah.
They're not just speaking like Yankee Doodle, are they? Like,
I think also
Uncle
in
Sam.
What's it called? What was that Tom Cruise film where he tries to assassinate Hitler? They all speak with perfect English accents. It's wonderful.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Valkyrie.
That was a great film.
Eddie Izzard was in that. Yeah.
Yes, he was. Was he a Nazi?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people were Nazis in that film.
Yeah.
Weird. Anyway, no Nazis in this game.
Oh well, never mind.
I know you'll be disappointed. But the grappling hook, I must say, is a revelation. It's so good.
Yeah.
Being able to, you do feel like an actual shinobi, which is quite
real
cool.
shinobi.
A real shinobi.
Obi-Wan Shinobi.
The amount of times that I've heard them say shinobi in an American accent and thought, General Shinobi.
Hello there.
Hello there. When you're running, you've got your sword like trailing behind you.
Yeah.
When you're sneaking, you've got your sword out next to you and you're looking like you're about to do some deadly killings.
Yeah.
The grappling hook works very similarly to Batman's grappling hook, where any grappleable surface, when you look around, will make itself apparent.
Sure. And sort of aim at edges and things.
Exactly, and it has a little circle that fills more and more. And when it gets fully green, that means you're close enough to be able to actually grapple to it. So it hasn't got a huge range at the moment. I'm assuming that's the kind of thing that will be upgradable as the game goes. I have to be pretty close to things to grapple onto them. But other things, you can jump and hold down square to grab onto a ledge and jump up. I will say that the AI has been sort of wildly inconsistent with how good they are at spotting me so far.
Right.
So sometimes I'll just sort of sneak right behind them and kill them, and their friend will go, "What was that noise?"
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll be up on a roof sneaking, and someone across the other side of a map from behind a tree will go, "He's over there!"
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, really? That's so annoying, especially when you've got these huge groups of enemies, and you're like, I don't really want to take all these guys on because I'm going to die.
Right.
And you get spotted and you're trying to be sneaky, it can be a little frustrating. But that's mainly me venting because I ended last night being very annoyed.
Being cross.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard. And it's not hard in that the gameplay is hard. And it does annoy me when people gatekeep Dark Souls and Bloodborne and say it's not hard. It's not hard, you're just bad at it.
Yeah.
So it is hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard game. This is a hard game. But it's made harder by the fact that I am desperately trying to rewrite my understanding of how this kind of game should play.
It's funny, really, because, like, as I say, I'm not yet a big Soulsborne player. It's sort of on my to play list, but when Sekiro was ready to be released, I kind of thought, I might just wait until I've played some Bloodborne and some Souls so that I know what I'm doing. But it sounds to me like if me and you had like both picked it up at the same time,
you'd probably be doing better than me.
I'm maybe not doing better, but like I certainly wouldn't have a lot of things to unlearn. So
that's true.
It's a funny thing that really, like, I think everyone expected this to be, it's going to be another one of those hard games, and if you've not played Bloodborne yet or Souls, then you're going to have a real struggle on your hands.
Yeah.
But that's interesting.
Bloodborne / Dark Souls in Japan. Like I could have gone for that, honestly. Like I could have gone for another From Software style game just in this setting.
Yeah.
But it's not that, and people shouldn't go into it expecting that. What it is a meticulously made, brilliant game. But don't go into it expecting that.
Okay.
Despite what other people will say, people will use the headlines like, "Is it the new Dark Souls?" It's like, no, it's not. It's not at all. It's got trademark Hidetaka Miyazaki brilliance all over it. In the way it's constructed and the way things link together. There's a bit where you teleport back to the past very early on in the game in sort of like a memory, and you encounter a thief who's breaking into a place. But that's not the first time you encounter him, because you encounter him in the present just before you go back to the past, and he recognizes you from the past despite the fact that you haven't been back to the past yet.
That's cool.
So that there's all sorts of fun things, and you can buy information from him in exchange for money, and he will then go and stock his shop with the money that you give him. So to begin with, he's got nothing to sell you, but you buy information from him, and then you come back and he's got stuff to sell.
Cool.
So there's lots of really cool things like that, and obviously there's the dying twice, which when you get killed, you have one resurrection that you can use to pop back up and carry on fighting. But there's no like buffs that you get given. Like if you're struggling against a really good enemy, there's a good chance that you get back up and then get put straight back down again.
Sure.
And then when you die, there are various penalties to the experience that you've earned, which you can use to buy skills and stuff, and also money that you've earned as well. You don't leave your souls or your blood echoes like you did in previous games, but there are punishments for actually properly dying and resurrecting. There's a thing called dragon rot, which I don't know a great deal about yet, but it infects the NPCs, the friendly NPCs will get sick. They get down with the Sekironess as you go, and I don't know how permanent that is or if they can actually die if I keep dying.
Oh, God.
So there's all sorts of things I need to work out. It's a very, very good game, but it's a matter for me currently of whether or not I have the patience to get good at it, to see it through to the end.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll find out because we're recording this on Tuesday, and we've got a podcast we'll be recording presumably on Friday. When you'll be doing the cutting edge what we playing segment.
Oh yes.
And doubtless talking about this, and you're streaming it as well. So yeah, by the time the podcast comes out on the weekend, you might have more to say about this. You might have gotten good.
I might have gotten good, played a bit further. I'm streaming it today at the time of recording. One thing, just to put it into context in terms of how you can literally never let your guard down in this game.
Right.
There are giant cockerels in this game, just giant cockerels. They're about the size of, let's say, a big spaniel.
Okay.
And you just encounter them every so often. They're not like an enemy, but they will fight you if you get close.
Well, yeah, like a cockerel would, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose so. They're not part of like the invading force or whatever, the cockerel unit. But after I spent a couple of deaths meticulously taking down my first mini-boss, I then encountered a chicken. I was like, oh, thank God, this guy's going to be easy. Just kept spamming R1 to attack. The chicken just bloody parried me, did a little dodge, and then started clawing at my face and nearly killed me.
Oh my God.
So you cannot take this game lightly. There's no... Fortunately, you can actually pause it in this game. Previously, in the other games, your options button or your start button would just bring up your inventory and stuff, but you would carry on playing behind it. There was no proper way to pause it. Whereas in this one, you can pause it, but you can never relax.
You can take a breather while you're like, that chicken just parried me.
The chicken
I just got parried by a chicken.
Chicken just said cock-a-doodle-doo.
Yeah, cock-a-doodle-don't.
And then a swear word out. Yeah. And just ripped my throat out.
Oh my God. Well, I wish you the best of luck against your cocks, your monster cocks.
Oh yeah, huge cocks.
Yeah. We'll talk about this throughout the week and probably the coming weeks as you get better or worse and happier or sadder.
We'll see. I'm going to try and see it through to the end.
Yeah.
And if you want to see me actually playing it, the live stream will be uploaded later in the week, and we'll talk about it more when the time comes.
Excellent. Well, we'll see you next time on QuipScope.
Oh yeah.
When a game comes out in which we want to scope out and quip about
all the way through.
Yeah. Brilliant.